KBC English Service, Radio Taifa and 15 FM are also available countrywide on the free-to-air Signet digital TV platform, or log on to www.kbc.co.ke for live streaming, or download the KBC Online app on Google Play Store. Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, ensuring learning no matter what.
Wa wakati wa furaha na wakati hata wa huzuni, na wako tayari ugani. Karibu.
Wabani wona hoi ni wona oreronga ingombe wabani wona hoi ni wona oreronga ingombe wabani wona hoi ni wona oreronga ingombe kanyori kanyori Bible Bible vajeleva kholola Bible 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 Kwenye musiti kwenye musiti kwenye musiti uraka Waishi
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Rais. With your permission, sir, allow me to invite the AU Special Envoy on Youth, Ms. Ayachebi, to make brief remarks. Welcome.
Kenyan youth, oh yeah! You were very noisy before the president arrived. His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, distinguished guests, young people, Nyaji Wase. You know, they asked me, do I want the cool greeting or the formal greeting? I said I want the cool because the Rais is cool. Tunasema Kenya ni mimi, tunasema Afrika ni sisi. Let me first start by appreciating His Excellency, the President, for his leadership and congratulate him for the national launch of Kenya ni mimi initiative, which really reaffirms him as a champion not only in Kenya but continentally and globally. I would like also to appreciate him because not long time ago, he recognized young heroes during Mashujaa Day celebration, young Kenyans who were at the front line of building and serving their communities. So thank you, Mr. President. I want to also celebrate the appointment of my sister Nadia as the youngest Cabinet Administrative Secretary, which is another testimony of Your Excellency believe in young people power to be in leadership positions they deserve. And it is my hope that the next level, Your Excellency, would be to appoint young cabinet secretaries. And perhaps appoint a presidential special advisor on youth working directly under your stewardship. We need more young people in public service and governance. We need intergenerational co-leadership. We cannot wait for tomorrow. We want to co-lead now. Young Kenyans are ready to co-lead now. And we need generational collaboration and generational accountability. With your wisdom and our innovation, that's how we're going to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. I want to also appreciate the Ministry of ICT Innovation and Youth for spearheading this initiative. I want to also appreciate UNFPA for the continuous support, not only in Kenya, but across the continent, and their partnership with the African Union. And of course, I want to appreciate you, the backbone of this nation, young Kenyans. And I carry with me a solidarity message from African youth. We are proud of you. We're proud of your resilience, of your leadership during COVID-19 outbreak. You were raising awareness in communities. You were producing masks and wearing them. You were innovating in agriculture, in technology, in healthcare. You really stepped into your power and leadership, despite the hardships, despite disruption of education, despite the loss of jobs, the stories we have heard this morning. You are the real heroes and hope of Kenya. So thank you. And I think Kenya Nimimi initiative is asking you not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? Because we do not need permission to serve our countries, to serve our continent. It's in fact our duty and responsibility. And we have the superpowers to do that. Do you realize your superpowers? We have the demographic power. 61% of Kenya's population is under the age of 30 years old. We have the digital power. We're tech gurus. We have the mobilization power. If we mobilize, we can stop the spread of the virus. We have the youth-led accountability power, because this initiative will only succeed with you pushing for it to be delivered. You pushing to hold this initiative accountable to your needs and promises. And it's not a favor. It's your legitimate right to life, to freedom, to dignity, to livelihoods, to education, to employment. It is guaranteed by the African Youth Charter. It is guaranteed by the National Development Policy. Now, your responsibility is to take those policies from aspiration to implementation. This is not going to sit at the government. It's a partnership with you to make this initiative a reality. So step into your superpowers. Are you ready to step into your superpowers? I don't feel the energy. Are you ready? Yes. I want to end with a message of Pan-African solidarity, because I feel one of the pillars of the initiative that is very important is to install patriotism in Kenyan youth. And I think part of that is to install Pan-African values. Because my dream as a young Tunisian is the same as your dream as a young Kenyan. The Africa we want is borderless, is peaceful, is integrated. And you have a role to play in Agenda 2063 of the African Union. You have a key role to play as Kenyan youth. You are also part of this African youth generation that is really stepping into taking charge of our own destiny. So, as the Special Envoy on Youth of the African Union, I remain committed to support His Excellency's vision for youth empowerment, and I remain committed to amplify your voices for the Kenya that you want. Asante sana. Shukran.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the AU Special Envoy on Youth. Your Excellency, allow me to invite the country's representative, UNFPA, to Kenya, that is Dr. Ademola Alajide, to make his brief remarks. Karibu, sir.
Excellency, the President of Kenya, Cabinet Secretaries, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Sitting there, I immediately occurred to me that I should have taken the advice of C.S. Mushero to speak before Aya, because right now she has emptied my speech, but I will try my best. We are gathered here today under the patronage of His Excellency the President to commence formally that which will be a strategic partnership with the youth of this great nation. A partnership that puts you at the center and at the driver's seat of issues that affect your well-being and your future. That Kenya is a youthful nation is without doubt. With 35.7 million of Kenyans under the age of 35, amounting to 75.1% of the population. The age demographic represented here, which is 18 to 34, amounts to 13.7 million Kenyans, 29% of the population. Excellency, this is a critical resource to drive equitable and sustainable economic development. A development that will be inclusive, that will guarantee for every Kenyan, irrespective of their demographic or socioeconomic circumstances, the capacity to contribute optimally to national productivity. We have been witnesses to the ravages of the COVID-19 pandemic. And as I commend those health workers and frontline workers who have unfortunately lost their lives to this, as I commend those who continue to work day and night despite the risks, I must salute the leadership of His Excellency the President, who has been personally engaged in driving a national response through uncharted territory. We've seen young people bear the brunt of the pandemic, the load of socioeconomic challenges. They've borne the brunt of the shadow pandemic of GBV, FGM, and teenage pregnancy. But we have also seen young people who have stood up, stepped up, and be counted amongst those who are profiling homegrown and adaptable solutions. At the UNFPA, we've been proud to work with young people across the nation who have been helping communities develop resilience. These have been male and female border riders, civil society activists, young persons with disabilities, or simply everyday young people who want to be counted and be part of the change they want. I salute these young people. That is the spirit of Kenya Mimi. As we re-engage the national economy to build back better, it's important for us to engage this critical group, harness their productivity, their creativity, their energy, through an open dialogue, through investments in health, in education, entrepreneurship, and innovation, and through non-traditional channels just like the Kenya Mimi. Excellency, in November 2019, you hosted the world to a landmark ICPD 25 summit, where you led this great nation in making 17 commitments, ranging from using innovation to improve youth health, to demographic dividend, and also ensuring that health and well-being is where it should be. I can confirm, Your Excellency, that under the leadership of the government of Kenya, we are making steady progress in spite of COVID. For example, we have worked with the State Department of Youth to leverage innovation to address the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, such as the Furusa versus virus challenge. We have worked with the Ministry of Health in revising policy documents to ensure that maternal, newborn, and child health services, including family planning, remains available despite COVID. And we continue to travel across the county with CS Kobia and her team to address issues of FGM and gender-based violence. So as it is, Your Excellency, we have made substantial progress. And what we need right now is for the young people to step up, stand up, and be counted. Interrogate your values, bring your productivity and your energy to the national discourse, and take every opportunity that the government provides in education, in entrepreneurship, in financing, and yes, in politics. Kenya Mimi provides a platform for conversation between government and the youth, for conversation between the youth themselves, for conversation between the older generation and the younger generation. Your Excellency, as we approach 2022, in 2017, the IEBC registered 19.6 eligible voters. The population represented here today, there are 13.7 million of Kenyans. And by the time we hit 2022, there will be 5.75 million Kenyans who are eligible to vote for the very first time. Therefore, an intergenerational dialogue that helps both sides make informed decisions for the mutual benefit of Kenya is indispensable. As they say, sir, that what an old man can see sitting down, a young person may not be able to see standing up. But the youth are quick to remind me, if we stand and we cannot see it, we will collaborate with CS Musheru to use drone technology. Excellency, finally, I'm a Yoruba man from the southwest of Nigeria, and our elders tell us that the ancient city of Ile-Ife is the cradle of our civilization. They believe that it is from Ile-Ife that the daylight breaks and the sunlight spreads to other parts of the world. That is a story for another day. But then they remind us that it is with the wisdom of the young and the wisdom of the old that Ile-Ife was founded. They admonish us that the bedrock of our civilization lies in the synergy of the wisdom of the old and the young. Kenya Nimimi provides for us an opportunity to harness the creativity and the energy of youth and the wisdom of age to birth a Kenya that aligns to the dreams of the founding fathers and mothers, that responds to your great vision and that of the government you lead, but responds to the aspiration of this teeming population of young persons. On behalf of the United Nations Population Fund and the UN country team in Kenya, Excellency, we commit our support to working under the leadership of government and with these young people at the driving seat. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana Daktari mwakilishi wa UNFPA Kenya. Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba unikubalie nimwalike Waziri wa Mawasiliano, Teknolojia, Ubunifu na Masuala ya Vijana Bwana Joe Musheru atupasulie mbarika kipindi ambacho kinafuata sasa, ambacho ni Bonga na Prezo.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, and dignitaries present and youth. Good afternoon, everybody. First, Your Excellency, let me take this opportunity to thank you. For about 11 months ago, you gave me the responsibility to interact with the youth. You moved the State Department to my ministry, and I can tell you it's been an amazing experience. First of all, it's a massive experience. As you've heard, more than 35 million youth within the country, which is more than 75.1%, which means a huge number of people have the responsibility to really work closely. And I can tell you the conversations we've been having, the aspirations of the youth and their needs are very clear. So let me thank you first for taking your time and choosing on a Monday morning to come and spend time with the youth and to listen to their views, to listen to where they want to go, but also to say that they are saying Kenya ni mimi. Na mnaona hata President amevaa Kenya ni mimi. Si ndio kata mimi? You know, Your Excellency, I was wearing this and trying to blend in, and I think many of them didn't know. They knew I was youth also, so I'm very happy to have been interacting with them. But I listened to a lot of the conversation. We met even yesterday evening with some of them, and I can tell you the country is in a great place. The young people, they are many, and they are determined to move this country forward. Today we would not have been able to bring all of them. As you can see, even the hall is not full. Dr. Mwangangi here, who's representing CS Kagwe, is watching that we don't break any of the COVID rules, and that is why the number is not as large. But I can tell you the demand for people to come and dialogue has been huge. They didn't even realize that you were going to come and join them in the dialogue. I think they got to know just a few minutes ago. So we're very happy that this dialogue is happening, but we have technology, we have live TV, we have people on social media, and all morning Kenya ni Mimi has been trending even on Twitter as #1. Sindio? Continue giving this message of hope. Your Excellency, we chose Bomas of Kenya for a very specific reason. In fact, some of my team, when I mentioned that we need to come to Bomas of Kenya, they were asking for directions. These are young people who have almost believed that this place is only for elections results, it's for discussing BBI, and that it's really not for young people. And today, Your Excellency, they have taken over this space. Kenyan is Niwao, and they have said, okay, it is back. Technology always once in a while inaleta hii mambo, sindio? But let me say, Your Excellency, the commitment I have seen and the things that we've learned from the young people here, it is commendable. We were reading in the press and here and there people talking about BBI and the signatures and what's going to happen and all the issues. Let me tell you, Your Excellency, of the 5.2 million signatures that we got during the 2 weeks period, about 4 million were from this generation. Can you show with your hands how many of you signed the books? Your Excellency, you have seen. This is the country. These are the people that are taking decisions for Kenya. Earlier in the discussions we were having, they talked about BBI. In fact, the youth BBI ambassador Alex here, the way he was describing it, they are saying that he's the one who authored BBI. But true, you opened it up for the country to discuss and to bring out their issues. So, Your Excellency, we are very happy that we are able to have this discussion. And really today, it's for you to engage with the youth and the youth to engage with you. There's going to be a series of questions. Unfortunately, we can't continue to move mics around, so we chose the people that will ask the questions. This is a program that started over 2 weeks ago and has been going on social media. And so many people have given their views and their comments. And one thing, sir, that was very clear today in the conversations is that they also agree you don't have to do things in a big bang. Unajaza kidogo kidogo. And we saw that. And, Fancy Flo, please stand up. Your Excellency, she really entertained the young people here and really talked about her journey, looking for bundles, even being conned on bundles, but how she has moved pole pole, sewing, all the things that she has done, and now she has a fancy shop. And she even said she's not Indian, even though she's wearing Indian attire. And was able really to describe her journey and her relationship with the government, with KO, and now in fact has made very good friends with the Youth Fund. And all the others now are looking at how they'll be able to engage together. So it's good to see that the young people, Asante, are able to really work together. They have appreciated the great effort you have put, sir, in ensuring that we're providing visibility and access to services with the youth. Together with CS Kobia, we've really been working together to ensure that the voice of the youth is being heard and that we are able to provide where we can. But more importantly, they are telling us Kenya ni mimi, and they are going to build the country with us. So today, sir, this day is for the youth. And they want to be able to discuss with you. They have some questions, and this is going to be led by none other than CAS Nadia, who's here. Let me thank you that alongside the other CASs, please stand up. This is not all of them, but they've had a chance to be able to interact with the others. They've talked about agriculture, they've talked about ICT, education, and health. And please, do sit. And really this engagement is going to continue. But since I have the mic, I wanted just to also just ask one question. You know, this is what politicians do. So I'm not changing to be a politician, but I have a question that as the youth discuss, maybe you can also address. If independence was brought to us by young people here in Kenya and on the continent, when did they stop leading us and why? Sindio? This is one of the questions the youth keep asking, and it's one of the things that we want to deliberate on. So let me thank you again, Your Excellency, for Nadia and the team. Nadia has really spearheaded this initiative, so I'll now call her to come and lead the Bonga na Prezo, because it's a youth discussion. And even if I've worn a youth t-shirt, I think I'm not youth yet, so let me let Nadia now take it from here. So CAS, karibu.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Mr. President, CS Joe Musheru, CS Professor Kobia, Dr. Ademola, to all my casters, my colleagues, to all the youths and all the dignitaries, good afternoon. First, if you allow me, Mr. President, before anything, I just want to say that deep down inside, I'm screaming like a small child. And despite the fact that I am the youngest CAS in the government, I'm still a youth. And this is really a dream come true for a young Swahili girl from Mombasa. So thank you, Mr. President. And before I continue and I play the video, I just wanted to share with you a bit about what Kenya ni Mimi is and why it's important for the youth. Kenya ni Mimi is an initiative that I sat down and drew up with the guidance of CS Joe Musheru and his mentorship in order for me to help the young people understand the government programs that are there, in order for me to help the young people reinstill back the values, the patriotism in our country, which is love, peace, and unity. I started this initiative in order for the young people of Kenya to understand that innovation is not just technology. Innovation is also the young people who are in the grassroots, and that is the majority of you here today. I started this program because it was important for the young girls and teenage girls in the rural areas to understand that even though teenage pregnancy faces you, or even though you have other challenges, the dream is there. And as a young girl, you can achieve whatever you need to achieve. And I started it because a lot of young people are suffering from mental health issues. And I knew I needed to demystify the stereotype around mental health. And Your Excellency, today I just want to say again, thank you very much for really wearing that shirt that says Kenya ni Mimi. This shows us as young people that the president, not only is he a global youth ambassador, but he's also one of us in this country. Sio? So if you allow me right now, if you can just play the video, which is a compilation of the young people's voices sending you a message.
Advisory member for UNFPA Kenya representing Isiolo County.
Kwa majina naitwa Stanley Njoroge, mimi ni beneficiary wa KEOP Psycho 2.
My name is Maha Hussein, a student at Daystar University, and I'm a Kenyan youth. When I hear the words Kenya ni Mimi, what comes to my mind is that finally we have an organization, a platform where as a youth I can voice my ideas about Kenya, and they'll be heard and they'll be implemented on, which is something I'm really looking forward to.
Mimi nikisikia Kenya ni mimi, nasikia Kenya ni kama mimi ndio naendesha Kenya, mimi na own Kenya, naona ni kama yani Kenya iko kwa mikono yangu. Wakati nasikia Kenya ni mimi, inamaanisha bila mimi Kenya haiwezi kuwa.
The mandate for Kenya ni Mimi is to build the skills and make sure that young people reach their highest potential.
My thoughts on the BBI as a young Kenyan youth is that finally they will have like an end of the marginalization and exclusion. So they will no longer look at the age, the race, the gender, the religion. This is something that's going to really grow us as the youth and empower Kenya, like empower the Kenyan youths and Kenya at large. As the slogan of Kenya ni Mimi says, Kenya ni Mimi, Kenya ni wewe, Kenya ni sisi sote.
Kenya ni mimi, Kenya ni wewe, Kenya ni sisi sote.
Thank you very much. And indeed, my youths, si Kenya ni mimi, Kenya si ni wewe, na kisha Kenya ni mazee. You guys were lit. Sahi, you know, the president is wearing a shirt that says Kenya ni mimi. We should all be excited. Sema tena, Kenya ni mimi? You guys are letting me down in front of my bosses. Okay, again, Kenya ni mimi? Kenya ni sisi sote. Asante. So the next thing, I want to invite the two national ambassadors of Kenya ni Mimi. They actually have a pledge, Mr. President. And if they can just come here, Mr. Evans and Ayan, to make the pledge. Let's give them a round of applause.
DJ umenibwaga sana. Viva young people, viva! Viva young people, viva! Viva young people, viva! Your Excellency, sir. John F. Kennedy once said that things do not just happen. Things are made to happen. Your Excellency, sir, our CS Joe Musheru and Kas Nadia Ahmed Abdallah are making things to happen through Kenya ni Mimi. And I want to invite my fellow colleague, Ayan, to just say something a little bit before we pledge Kenya ni Mimi. Ayan, karibu.
Thank you, Evans. Thank you, MS Kas. And also thank you to CS Musheru, and most of all, thank you to the President for Kenya ni Mimi program. So we're just going to go through. Sorry, I'm just a bit nervous. Okay. Okay, so my name is Ayan Kenan. I am an innovator. I'm also an engineer. I'm a student at Strathmore University, and I'm very happy to be here for the Kenya ni Mimi launch today as we commemorate the good work of the CAS and the Ministry of ICT. Creating safe spaces for young people and to harness and nurture their talents and creativity and potential. I mean, this is what Kenya ni Mimi truly, truly stands for. This is a movement that aims at promoting a youth population that is empowered, healthy, safe, competent, earning decent livelihoods, creative, innovative, and upholding ethical values. Speaking of ethical values, we as the youth are very fast in consuming negative information on social media and on different platforms that are there. And for sure, if we come up with this movement for Kenya ni Mimi, and if we adopt it, We're going to have safe spaces, and we're going to give the youth a chance not to engage in negative information, but to engage in meaningful conversations. And we are hoping that, Mr. President, you're going to come back to Twitter. For me personally, as an innovator, I'm quite happy with the progress of innovation and technology, with the digital Ajira platform and the white box, etc. And I'm really happy for the initiative that has been taken to provide free internet access to the whole of Kenya. That is something that is commendable, and we're quite happy about that. The next thing is the fourth industrial revolution is sped up by us, the youth, covering 75%. We really need to put on our boots, our innovative boots, not just in technology, but also everyone else who's on the ground. And for that, I say that I have a pledge for the youth and for everybody who is here. Kenya needs us, young people, now more than before. Integrational dialogues are key drivers in strengthening our social, economic, and political sphere. The energy, love, patriotism for our nation is in question, but Kenya Nimimi campaign will restore it back. In conclusion, Your Excellency, we are now ready to have dialogues and sit down with you. We're ready to roll our sleeves up and get into work. The work to restore the values, our values and spirit of this nation. Kenya ni mimi, Kenya ni wewe, na Kenya ni sisi sote. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ayan. Kwa heshima na taadhima kuu, Rais, na kuomba uweze kusimama, uturuhusu tusimame sote ili tuweze kusema hii pledge sote kwa heshima kuu. Na kwa heshima kuu, naomba tuweze our left hand tuiweke kwa chest yetu, then our right hand tuiinue juu kwa heshima kuu. Asante sana Rais. Kenya needs us, young people, now more than ever before. Intergenerational dialogues are key drivers in strengthening our social, economic, and political sphere. The energy, love, and patriotism for our nation is in question, but Kenya ni mimi campaign will restore it back. Your Excellency, we are ready to have dialogues with you. Roll our sleeves and get into work. The work to restore our values and spirit in this nation. The work to look deep into the struggles our founding fathers did to bring Kenya to where it is right now. Your Excellency, as Kenya Nimimi ambassadors, on behalf of all the youths here, through the guidance of CS Joe Musheru and Cass Nadia, we pledge to accelerate our efforts as young change makers to drive positive change in this nation through sustainable dialogues and representation. Your Excellency, sir, as I conclude, the time is now and not today or tomorrow. Kenya ni mimi, Kenya ni wewe, Kenya ni sisi sote. Let us repeat that. Kenya ni mimi,
Kenya ni wewe, Kenya ni sisi sote.
Viva young people, viva!
Viva!
Viva young people, viva!
Viva!
With your guidance, please, you may sit. You can use that phrase, Mr. President, in case ukisahau you viva, you can call me so that I can be able to remind you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Evans and Ms. Ayan. His Excellency the President, all these young people did not know that you were coming. And this is a very good surprise, isn't it? For all of you. Si muko rada? Eh? Na Kenya ni mimi, si munai feel? Okay. Hamu feel? Munai feel? Pigeni makofi, President. Your Excellency, we are now going into the Bonga na Prezo, which I will be the one moderating. And as we start, I would like to call Aisha to come forward. Mpigeni makofi. Kindly say your name, your county, and then ask the president. But before we do that, Your Excellency, sir, how would you like us to do it? 2 questions, you answer, or 1 question each, or do you want to hear all of them? 2 at a time. Poa. There are 9. Okay. 2. So, amesema 2 at a time. Si tuko poa? Sio? Aya, Aisha.
Okay. I'm also so excited. Your Excellency, sir, my name is Aisha Hussein. I'm from Isiolo County, and I run an organization. It's a local CBO. It's called Every Girl's Dream, yani ndoto ya kila msichana. I'm also the Vice Secretary for the National Youth Anti-FGM Network, a really, really, really vibrant network in Kenya trying to end FGM and sensitizing the community. And finally, I am the Isiolo County Kenya ni Mimi Ambassador. So my question goes to you, Your Excellency. As an activist, I have been in this field for quite a while. So I would like to ask you, I have seen so many girls in the country being exposed to issues of GBV like teenage pregnancies, child marriages, and FGM. I would like to confirm from you, how can we as a country comprehensively end this vice?
Thank you, Aisha. Next, can we have Jane CD? Pigeni makofi as she comes down. Unajua, this thing is not easy. You're coming here to ask the president a question, right? Yes, so let's clap for her until she gets here. Again, state your name, your county, and then ask the question.
His Excellency, sir, my name is Jane Sidi from Kilifi County. My question, Mr. President, the BBI report was currently launched with various proposals being made across different sectors of the economy. What does BBI portend to the youth and the future generation of this country? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jane Seeley.
Thank you, Nadia. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. Very happy to join you. Very happy to be together with you. As we are here to join you in endorsing this wonderful movement, Kenya ni Mimi. Because Kenya has owners. And those owners are each and every one of the 50 million people in this country. But these owners also have a responsibility. When you call yourself an owner, you have a responsibility for the management, the welfare of that property that you own. And for a long time now, the majority shareholders in this project of ours called Project Kenya have not fully played their part, not only in taking ownership, but in managing, directing, and gearing Kenya towards its rightful destination. We are here today to begin to change that, so that the majority shareholder, as you have heard, 70% of you, majority shareholder, should begin to take ownership and responsibility and not allow the minority shareholder to dictate to you what should or should not be your future. Tunaelewana wenzangu? Na uongozi watu ni kuchukua wanachukua, sio kupatia unapatiwa. Kama mnagoja kupatiwa, basi no problem. Mutagojea mpaka muwe wazee na wengine wakuje. But you must take it. You must grab it. You must move with it. And you must take ownership. I wanted to say that as an opening remark. To my dear friend from Isiolo, you have raised the issue of FGM, and you have raised the issue of gender-based violence in homes. And it is true, we have a challenge. And we have a challenge first and foremost starting with gender-based violence, especially during this particular period of COVID where people have been restricted, people have been at home. But we must go back into history and ask ourselves, where does this come from? Why is it that women are targeted and not necessarily boys? And that comes from an active mentality where we have seen women as objects, as opposed to human beings, as opposed to people who have the capacity and are equal partners in the destiny that we have together as a country. Today, women are 50-50 if you take the population. Actually, I think there are more women in Kenya than there are men. There are actually more women than men. And by leaving over half of your population outside the social economic agenda of a country, you're basically saying, unatembea na mguu moja na huu mwingine wewe mwenyewe umekata. Hiyo safari yako hutaweza kutimiza. You need both your legs, you need both your hands in order to be able to move forward. And that is why we are coming up with a very distinct and clear program. And we have said that it is important for us to recognize that women are equal partners with men. And by so doing, we must remove this idea that women are objects, that they are either sexual objects or they are objects of burden. Kazi yao ni kulima na kufanya vile wanaambiwa na wazee. And we have said that we want to eliminate FGM in this country by the year 2022. And this is one of the tasks that the Ministry of Gender is currently focused on. And I hope they can work together with you and others like you to ensure that we bring it to an end. We have made it very clear that where we find societies and communities that are actually encouraging and endeavoring to continue with an outdated practice, we are going to be taking action. From the sub-chief to the chief hapo kwa locality. Tukiuliza ni kwa nini unaruhusu mambo ambaye inadhuru wakina mama wetu iendelee kwako. Wewe ndio utakuwa punished ukiwa unasimamia mambo kama haya ya siku zilizopita na unasimamia na unaangalia ikifanyika. And we are saying that as leaders all the way from the grassroots level, we must take responsibility. And I would request that through this particular forum, we are working on trying to create, using technology again, applications where our girls can report their seniors who are engaged in this kind of endeavor, and to do so anonymously, to allow us to have that information, to allow us to take action. Because we will take action, and we must take action in order to allow our girls to be able to grow to be mature, productive human beings. The same applies with gender-based violence. And the problem that we have, again, is the same problem of people not coming forward. We are encouraging you, come forward. Speak your mind. Pass the information. Use technology. Let us know. Let us take action on these individuals who are perpetuating and carrying out these kind of activities. And unfortunately, it is not the young people who are doing these things. It is that 30% that I'm telling you who want to continue to live in the past. The future is yours, and that future must be today. You must be able to say that my sister is my partner, not my subject. You must be able to say that your wife is your partner, not your slave or your domestic help. She is your partner. You change that mindset, because it's all about mindset. You start taking control. You start saying no. These things will come to an end. And what I want to assure you is that you will have a government that will support you, and it is my intention to ensure that we support you. When it comes to what BBI means to our young people, you have to have an understanding of where and why did we come up and start BBI. You've heard my good friend here talk about you being the majority voters. And unfortunately, just as they say, voting machines in some instances. Mimi hakuna kura natafuta, so me I can speak now and tell you the way things are. Right? And you come out and you vote. But at the end of the day, for one reason or another, because of disagreements of those who you are voting for, we end up in a situation where violence erupts, violence, community against community. Why? Not because there is a difference per se between you who voted this way and your colleague who voted another way, but because those who you voted for are not satisfied and hence say you should have a grievance. And we came out after the 2017 election, and I reached out to my brother Raila, and I told him, really, and those of you who live in Nairobi and other parts of this country, Mombasa, for example, where there were these clashes between our young people. And we said, surely, we cannot continue to live in a perpetual 5-year cycle of violence. We must find a way of coming together. We must ask ourselves, why is it that we are challenging ourselves? We must ask ourselves the issue of winner take all. We must ask ourselves, what is this that breeds pressure, especially in our young people? That the first opportunity to be violent, they become violent. These are the issues that we try to address. And when we reached out and we shook hands and we said that we will not continue to allow our people to fight, and we want to shake hands so that at the grassroots they can shake hands. And friends, you have seen from that handshake of almost 2.5 years ago, you have seen the peace that has prevailed in this country and the manner in which we have been able to work together, because the agendas are not that different. And that is why we said we must deal with the issue of inclusion. And when we talk about inclusion, we are not just talking about the inclusion of political leaders. We are talking about inclusion and communities to feel included. We are talking about our young people being included. We are talking about our women feeling that they are included, and that's why the 1/3 agenda came from. So what we are trying to achieve in Kenya is to ensure that no single Kenyan should ever again feel left out to the point that they want to become violent to achieve their objective. And that is why one of the critical components, and I'm sure you've been told about the details, is ensuring that we entrench in law bills that will ensure that the youth are adequately catered for. That's why we need the youth policy going out, so that we ensure that youth are at the center of any developmental programs in our country. That is why we are saying we want our young people also involved in decision-making bodies all the way from county assemblies to the National Assembly. That's why we are saying we want young people involved in both national government and county government. That's why I'm happy with the person who said that my dear young daughter here who was saying she would love to see youthful cabinet secretaries. And Mark, you don't forget our independence ministers. Almost 60% were under the age of 30. Under the age of 39. Over 60%. Because they had a drive to want to determine their future. This is the drive I'm asking you guys. Please, mutoke kwa kuwa watu wa kuwa mnapatiwa handouts. Ati Uhuru amekuja ni nini anawaletea. Muwe watu ambao mtasema kwa viongozi wenu, hatutaki utuletee, tunataka kukuambia ni nini tunataka utubadilishie ndio sisi tuwe na uwezo wa kujipatia. That is the way you take control of your destiny. That is the way you take control of your future. That is the way you are going to stop issues of FGM. That is the way you are going to stop issues of gender-based violence. That is the way you are going to stop issues of electoral violence, where you people are the ones who shed blood fighting for a group of wazees who are sitting at home with their children with no issues, watching you on TV as you take pangas and other things against each other. You are one people, you have the same needs. You need work. You need to be empowered to get capital. You need education. You need to ensure you have a good roof over your head. You need to ensure you have good health. You need to ensure that your roads are functioning and working. You need to ensure that your pension and futures are dealt with. You need to ensure that your resources are not being stolen corruptly by a few individuals and you are left to mire in grime. Jameni, chukueni usukani. Muwe watu ambao mutakuwa muna dictate, sio kuwa dictated tu. Museme hii ndio tunataka na hii ndio Kenya tunayotaka. Na mimi nataka kuhakikishia ya kwamba mimi nitawaunga mkono kwa hiyo safari. Lakini jukumu ni lenu wenzangu. Jukumu ni lenu. Haya, tuendelee mwingine.
Makofi kwa rais. Mwingine nitakayomuita ni Bernard. Yuko? Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, sir. I want us to be a little, one of the posters there is written, let's engage. So I want to engage the crowd and engage you as well. So before I ask my question, ladies and gentlemen, how many of us are married? Okay, and how many are not married? Okay, thank you. In fact, yes, thank you. Okay, from most of us, you've seen that most of us are not married. And I want to ask you a very simple question. If you were in our shoes, would you marry first or would you make money first?
Just ask the questions.
All right. Yeah. And then I'd ask something else. Huh? What was your first car? For me, I don't have a car. I ride a motorcycle. So what was your first car and at what age did you get it? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next, can we have Caroline? Miss Caroline.
Mr. President, sir. My name is Caroline Kwamboka. I come from Nyamira County. I'm much interested in youth involvement in leadership in all the ranks. My question today comes to you in a special way. There's no president that has appointed youth cabinet in this country like you have done. Right now, in your government, you have a cabinet who is 29 years old. Mr. President, sir, if you get another chance, a vacancy in your cabinet, don't you think Kenya is ready for a cabinet secretary who is 30 years old? Like Tom Mboya, who was a minister at the age of 20s. Thank you, sir.
When should you get married? Jesus. I think let us break that question down. And first and foremost say that at least you should wait for you to become an adult. All right? We don't want issues of people being forced into early marriages or also running into marriage even before you finish your education. So to me, maybe I would say the first thing is to ensure that we have no early marriages, early pregnancies before people are ready. And secondly, to say let us also focus on finishing our education. And once that is done, and you're out there now looking for your future, if you so happen to be lucky to find your right partner at an early stage in your life, I would encourage you to start your journey together early. Because then once you start that journey early together, you get to know one another, you get to understand one another, you get to have your children together, you get to struggle together through life. But ultimately, God giving life, you are also able, while you still have strength, to see your children through education and hopefully to see them through to starting their new life, while you are still energetic enough to go into retirement. Unaona hata mimi sasa mimi nataka kwenda retirement. Na mimi sio mzee sana. Kwa sababu hata mimi safari yangu nilianza mapema kidogo. So, it is not wrong to start early if you found the right person. Marriage is about partnership, companionship. Marriage is about finding your soulmate. Na kila mtu atapata wake at their own time. We should not be in a rush to find your soulmate. But if you found your soulmate early, usiwachilie hujui jameni, ukiwachilia atapatwa na mwingine. Tunaelewana wenzangu? Tusioe tukiwa watoto, tumalize masomo yetu, lakini ukibahatika na Mwenyezi Mungu akupatie hiyo baraka ya kupata soulmate wako wa maisha, jameni usikae. Hata kama mtakuwa mna live kwa room moja mkiwa wawili hapo, muanze hapo mkue pamoja. That is the way it should be. That is the way it should be, and I would encourage that. You know, we read the whole constitution where I could just dismiss and hire ministers the way it used to happen. How do you know? Maybe by now you would have even 25-year-olds in cabinet. Lakini sasa tabu hii katiba inasema lazima niende bunge, nipeleke majina huko, wachunguze, sijui kama watapitisha, hawatapitisha. And for now, I don't think I am really keen on doing too many changes. Mimi unajua, ukiwa mkondo wa lala salama, haja yako sasa ni kumaliza ile kazi umeanza, sio kwenda kuanza mpya. Sasa yangu nitakuwa advocate wenu hata huko baadaye kuhakikisha ya kwamba wale wengine ambao watakuja watakuwa na vijana wa 30 and 35 and 25 in positions of cabinet secretary. That we shall work together. But as of now, be happy with wakina Nadia na wengine, alafu muingie na pamoja na mimi tuwatetee wawe cabinet secretaries kwa serikali zile ambazo zitakuja. Sina namna hiyo wenzangu. Na wewe Bernard, angalia Nadia aliinua mkono. Sasa hata wewe kama uko mtu sharp kimbia bwana.
Okay. Bernard, lazima uchukue your advice, lakini with caution. Labda niko na kamtu mahali. Thank you, His Excellency. Next, can we have Peter, please? Mr. Peter.
Your Excellency, sir, my name is Peter Magakanyo. I come from Kiambu County. And my question is, we youth with disabilities face several hurdles in life compared to the general youth population. We experience hurdles in accessing education, special education not being free, and other services including health services like mobility and sign language, transport services, especially where you find unfriendliness of public transport services to persons with a disability, and even employment and government opportunities such as affirmative actions funds, which some of us may lack good know-how to access. How can we work with your government to address these challenges? Thank you.
First and foremost, by acknowledging the very fundamental principle that disability is not inability, that every single citizen has the capacity to contribute. Indeed, as one of our permanent secretaries, Madam Kobe, has proved to have become one of the most effective permanent secretaries. Despite her disability, she has managed to prove herself to be equal to her counterparts and to participate and produce and actually show great results. So I want to first and foremost affirm that. Secondly, to say that no Kenyan should ever again be left behind for whatever reason, be it our girls, be it persons with disabilities, be it our young people. We have a number of programs that are specifically geared towards addressing people who have disabilities, to be able to help them and to support them. We have, for example, the various programs that aimed at giving funding and support to persons with disabilities, and I think this is something, Margaret, you need to, if he's saying that they are not aware, to be able to come out and show them which are these programs. Secondly, even in terms of education, we have acknowledged, because that was one thing that was never acknowledged, the fact that persons with disabilities sometimes are being graded and being given the same challenge when it comes to exams with people who are perfectly able. And for the first time, I issued a directive to the Ministry of Education that yes, persons with disability will sit for the same exam as those who are not disabled, but if an exam has been set for an able person to take 1 hour or 1 hour and a half, a disabled person should be allowed to sit that same exam and be given 2 or 3 hours in order to be able to attain the same grade level, because it's not that they don't know, but they may be slower in the way they do it, in order for their grades also to match, for them to be able to get gainful employment and not necessarily fail their exams because their disability did not allow them to score the necessary marks in school. Again, all those are affirmative actions that we have taken to assist persons with disabilities. Secondly, we have also said, in terms of mobility devices and so on and so forth, that we need to also make these much more readily available, and we're hoping to work through again with the NHF and others, that wheelchairs and such other equipment that persons with disability require in order to improve their mobility should be made not only just affordable but free. Furthermore, as you progress, we have also said that even if it is persons with disability who are applying to buy cars, those cars should be imported duty-free in order for them to again have a greater chance to also be owners of vehicles and other mobility items like that. So my friend, you are just the same Kenyan as every other, who must be given an opportunity like every other. And what I would wish to advise and continue to advise is that if this information is not out there, if some of these things that we have put in place and you are not feeling them, Margaret, I encourage you to engage them and show them the different programs that are there, that are made available. You have also, just like we're saying for young people, when we went out and we said 30% of all government procurement must be set aside for women, young people, and persons with disabilities, again, is to give you an edge to be able to perform and have access and gain opportunity like every other Kenyan. So please, I think we need to engage more, and we need to make sure that much more information is out there and is available to our friends with disabilities so that they can know those different areas where they can take advantage.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call upon Amina.
Thank you very much. My name is Amina Mahmoud. Your Excellency, sir, I'm from Mombasa County. I've studied your affinity for the military. They do the work. It's obvious. So my question is, what role do you see the military playing in the next 10 years? And do you think development expenditure should be directed to them? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. And despite the fact that I have been accused of trying to militarize the country, which is fake, I am not. But the first and principal role of any military in any nation is to ensure that they defend the sovereignty and territorial boundaries of a nation. That is their number one core mandate. But I have also said that in executing that mandate, it is also possible for our military to be part and parcel of the social economic development of a nation, of empowering people and creating prosperity for people. And I do not see those two as two issues that are in conflict with one another. And let me tell you what I have seen personally through working with the military. And maybe, unfortunately, my civil servants and others will not agree, but it is true, because I have clear-cut examples. I have seen that their efficiency, their discipline, and their integrity is something that our own civil service, our own ministers need to emulate. And I will give just but 3 examples. I tasked the military once when I would travel to Kisumu, and I visited Kisumu port. And when I visited, the port was dead. No activity whatsoever. It was a ghost town. And when I asked the relevant authorities, okay, now what do we do? What do we need to do to revive this port? I was given a budget that I don't even want to say, but so of course it was impossible. And I was saying, so there's not even a single ship here that can move in and not possible. And then unfortunately the person who was taking me around, there was an old dilapidated vessel there that was almost half sinking called MV Uhuru. He was saying, hii tunataka kuuza ni scrap, haiwezi kufanya kazi. Then I involved the military. They told me, no, this we can rehabilitate this vessel. Ladies and gentlemen, for less than almost 30 million shillings, they not only rehabilitate the vessel is now fully functional, and to date, in the space of only 5 or 6 months of operation, has delivered in excess of 35 million liters of fuel to Uganda from Kisumu. Ile nilikuwa naambiwa na wenzangu wa serikali, hii ni scrap na inataka bilioni sijui ngapi kununua mpya. Commissions tu hapo, hakuna kitu ingine ilikuwa hapo. All right? They did it. And then, using our young people through NYS, they rehabilitated the port. We now have a port that is fully functional, working from a ghost town to a place now that is employing young men and women who are working in that port out there in Kisumu. The second example I want to use is the appointment of huyu mnaitanga super governor. Mimi sijui hiyo ni matusi, lakini muangalie ile imefanyika Nairobi, again within the space of 8 months. We're in the process of doing almost 400 kilometers of tarmac in Nairobi. We are in the process, we have ensured people in Nairobi used to pay 20 shillings in our informal settlements for 1 jerrycan of water. 40 shillings a day, and you can imagine what 40 shillings a day kwa mtu wa kibarua. We have worked with them to ensure that we have dug boreholes. People in Nairobi, especially our informal settlements, are now getting water not only regularly, but for free. The railway line to Kisumu is being rehabilitated by our military, by our NYS. Okay? Jamani, if all of us had the discipline, the integrity of our armed forces, our defense forces, Kenya ingekuwa mbali sana. Kwa hivyo, we shall continue, and I see the military continuing to play an ever-increasing role in the social economic development of our country, and I will continue to advocate that they do, and I continue to encourage the young people of this country to be more like them in how they conduct their day-to-day activities.
Thank you, Your Excellency, sir. We have 2 more questions to go. It's okay. Sisi ngumu sana. Ziko poa. Sawa. Can we have Nderit, please? Nderit. You go. Oh, yeah, there. And if we could have Beauty Chelengat to be ready, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Sir President Uhuru Kenyatta. My name is Kijana Stephen Derry. I am a young, God-fearing leader from Nyeri County. A young leader who is greatly inspired by you and who someday, by your inspiration, wishes and hopes that one day I may sit on the seat that you are today sitting. I am happy to be here by Kenya Nimimi. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, that second president of the Republic of the United States, said that you cannot build a future for the youth, but you can build the youth for the future. And that is what President Uhuru Kenyatta is doing. Makofi. Back in 2010, Your Excellency, in an interview with Churchill, you spoke about your hope of getting rid of the big youth bulge in Kenya. You and your government have made efforts and policies towards arresting that bulge. I understand that it is a work in progress. And Your Excellency, I would want to ask, do you think that we should adopt crazy and radical solutions like giving tax holidays to companies hiring young people in locked age groups, like let's say 20 to 30 years? Do you think such crazy solutions should be adopted in this country? Thank you.
Is Beauty Chelengat here? No, okay. Your Excellency, hiyo ndo swali moja tu.
Aya. First and foremost, I wish you every luck. I pray that one day your dream and your ambition shall be met. Because nothing happens without a dream. You must start with a dream and that ambition. Songa mbele. The second is the question that part of your question is that of will we achieve and be able to deal with this youth bubble? That is part and parcel of why, for example, we are desirous of this BBI. Why? Because we must understand that for us to achieve our objective, it's not going to be achieved through one cycle of one president, but it is a continuous effort. And that effort does not allow for start and stop. Start and stop. Miaka tano, start, stop. Miaka tano, tunaanza tena. For us to be able to truly achieve our objective of ensuring that our young people are fully engaged, meaningfully employed, and that we have a prosperous society, we must be able to know that governments will change, but the agenda cannot. We must move away from this issue of a country coming to a standstill every 5 years. Wengine wakiomba tuwe na amani, tusipigane. Wengine wakisema hii investors wamekuwa baridi, wamestop kuinvest. We want to be able to create that culture where our democracy becomes something that we are proud of and becomes something that safeguards our nationhood, but does not become an obstacle to our social economic development. Kwa sababu mtu atakuja hapa awaambie, mimi niko na mipango hii, mimi niko na mipango hii, mimi niko na mipango hii, mimi nitaanza hii, mimi nitaanza hii, baada ya miaka mitano mwingine, na mimi nitafanya hii. Jamani, like we said, the interests are the same. We want meaningful employment for our people. We want to be able to ensure we achieve universal health care. We want to make sure that we achieve our objective of increasing manufacturing. Uhuru Kenyatta will not finish all of those during his term. It must be something that is continued, and it can only be continued if we have an environment that is conducive for people to continue. And that is why I'm so keen on bringing people together. That is why I'm so keen that we can be able to go into an election with everybody being confident that there shall be peace and that work will resume the day after elections. Not hii mambo ya tuko na baridi, mwaka moja mbele ya uchaguzi hakuna kazi inafanyika. Mwaka moja baada ya uchaguzi hakuna kitu ambayo inafanyika. Kwa hivyo meaningfully we only have 3 years out of 5, and every 3 years we stop. We will never achieve our objective unless we have a semblance of continuity, and that is what I am seeking, that is what I am looking for, that is what I am praying for. Na ya mwisho, what was the last part of the question? Crazy ideas. There you go. There is no crazy idea. Absolutely not. And that's why, for example, in BBI we are saying, if a young person starts and has the innovation, starts a new company, we want that young person to be able to have a 7-year tax holiday in order ndio hiyo biashara yake stabilize. So it's not crazy. It is possible. That is why we have introduced programs where we are saying, if companies and manufacturers take up young people as interns in their respective companies, they should be able to claim that back in their end-year tax. So my friend, we are not static. There is no such thing as crazy. That's why we are saying we want more and more young people. Come, bring in your ideas. They are only crazy until they are implemented. In fact, the only foolish man is the one who doesn't innovate and move forward, doesn't welcome new ideas, stagnates and still wants to do things in the same way. We have bills lying in parliament that are denying us the ability to use technology. Kwa sababu iliandikwa kwa sheria, lazima hii form iwe filled in triplicate. Na jameni, siku hizi unabonyeza kakitu hapa tu na hiyo ni form na umeituma. This is why we are telling our parliamentarians, move quickly. Change these archaic laws and make them more responsive to today's reality. We can't just sit there tuseme hii sheria iliandikwa mwaka 1960 If it is not applicable, we change it and we move forward. No crazy ideas, my friend. Your imagination is your limit. Keep innovating, keep thinking, keep changing. A nation that is not changing is a dead society.
Asante sana Rais. Na kama unavyojua Kenya ni mimi ni kampeni ya vijana. Na kidogo tutaka kukufanya uchangamke na upoe. Kwa hivyo iko utaniruhusu through Cabinet Secretary. Ningetaka Evans uje hapa. DJ uweke ile nyimbo wa Mr. President, please stand. Tutamfuata vile Evans anavyofanya.
Simama Wakenya wote simama. Simama wewe shujaa simama. Nchi yangu, jukumu langu, mimi ni shujaa.
Tusimame sote ni shujaa. Cheza kidogo, tumekaa chini sana. Mimi ni shujaa. Cheza. Simama.
Simama Wakenya wote simama.
Wewe ni shujaa.
Simama wewe shujaa simama.
Mimi ni shujaa.
Simama Wakenya wote simama. Simama wewe shujaa simama.
Asante sana His Excellency. Simuona anaweza? Amaweza? His Excellency, I have one question for myself, if you would allow. Ko sawa? Haya. Kwa hivyo, ever since I was a young girl at the age of 13, I've always aspired to be two people, either the late Kofi Annan or Oprah Winfrey, because I'm very passionate about communication and humanitarian diplomacy works. Then you appointed me as Chief Administrative Secretary, which again, I would like to thank you for that. Asante sana, umeniinua kwetu, na pia umenisaidia. So, now that I've worked for almost 11 months, I'm thinking, as a president, what would you tell myself and other young girls out there if they aspire to be the first female president of this country?
Like I told my friend up there, the first stage of achieving your objective is your dream and never allowing your ambition to fail you. The second is to know that there are no limitations. Whether you are male or female, you can actually achieve. Believing in yourself. And the biggest sadness sometimes I have of the young people in this country is sometimes I get the feeling that they have stopped believing in themselves and in their capacity. that they have become despondent and desperate. And I want to plead and pray with each and every one of you. Do not lose hope. Take up the challenge. Take up the challenge. And you taking up the challenge, I promise you that future ahead of you is bright. But if you surrender to despair and the language that sometimes we hear, that all is hopeless, all is lost, then the nation is lost. Yes, it is going to be tough. Yes, it is going to be difficult. But I truly, truly, truly believe through various glimmers that you see, the young girl who is here, and many others who have seen in the innovation sector, many others who have seen, who have struggled and pulled themselves up from their bootstraps, from very, very humble beginnings, and have risen to be great men. I know that you can do it. So even you, Nadia, my dear, you can be a president. You can be. And not just a president, possibly one of the best presidents this country will ever see. Lakini ukiri tupa roho useme hiyo wacha hiyo ikae ati uendelee, you'll never get there. Keep hope alive and you'll make it.
Thank you, His Excellency, which means nitakuja kwako for mentorship. Sawa.
I have a lot of time.
Okay. Well, I just want to take this opportunity on behalf of all the youths to thank you, His Excellency, for engaging in us, for the dialogue that we had. We started Kenya ni Mimi because of this. And with your guidance, and I hope with your support, we will now roll out and from next year also go huko mashinani, ili the young people understand what it really means to be Kenyan. Sio? Sawa, sawa. So it's my pleasure to now re-invite the Cabinet Secretary, which, by the way, His Excellency, I need to say this. I would not have reached where I am today in this office for 11 months if it wasn't for the support of my Cabinet Secretary, Jomo Shero. He listens, he criticizes, but positively, and anatuenua mimi and my colleague, Ms. Maureen Mbaka. And our confidence, and personally my confidence today, is the way it is because of him. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Your Excellency, it's been a great conversation, so I have a simple and single request for you to then address the young people of Kenya in this day of Kenya ni Mimi, a great day for us. Your Excellency, welcome. Thank you.
Tuketi, nashukuru sana. Hamjambo tena. Nimeshukuru, and I just want to continue encouraging you and to tell you that the future is bright. So, friends, as indeed I've been trying to say, the building of a nation is a continuous endeavor that requires every generation to make their contribution. Without a doubt, our forefathers secured the political freedom of our land and nation, paving the way for us as Kenyans to determine our social-economic destiny. Walking the social-economic liberation journey, therefore, which is the subject of what we have been talking about, is a shared task of our time. Let's look at the numbers. Again, as our friend here mentioned, about 75% of our population is below the age of 35. And this means that while as government we are contemplating and have made new policy decisions it is ultimately completely imperative that we ensure that our youth are consulted regularly, that their interests and views are consistently taken on board as we make future policy decisions. And I want to state again that the BBI is about a better present and Kenya's best possible future. And the 75% of Kenyans who are under 35 are not just the present, but you also make up the future of Kenya. And so where we are heading is about you, your lives right now, and your lives in years to come. We're not going to say that we are going to fix Kenya by a single document or by a single administration. And that is why we're saying that this handshake principle needs to take root, and our young people must be involved in it. You must be able to reach out to each other, irregardless of your ethnicity, irregardless of your political affiliation, to ensure that your agenda takes center stage now and into the future. And that is why we're saying, when we talk of the principle of the handshake, it's not just a political philosophy, but rather a re-articulation of basic African truths that our forefathers had, that indeed we can compete without being enemies, and that in our diversity we are still one people, and that we all love our motherland, and all we want is for the best for Kenya and the best for her people. So this doctrine that we're talking about, reconciling with your opponents for the sake of Kenya every time the contest is over, it is about putting Kenya first above any partisan, ethnic, or other identifiers. One Kenya for all Kenyans. And you young people are the custodians, not only of today, but the future prosperity of our country. To sustain the pride of any nation, therefore, our young people must be empowered to step in at the right moment and to move on with the task of nation building. And a key aspect of empowerment starts with the love of your country, being patriotic young men and women of integrity, what I was talking about the military just now. Do not allow yourself to be bought at the expense of your country, and be disciples of complete zero tolerance to corruption. Indeed, all makers of change the world over started young. We can start with Martin Luther King, who died by the age of 39. By that time, he already led the Montgomery bus boycott. At the age of 34, he gave that speech that we still repeat today of "I have a dream." And at 35, he had received the Nobel Peace Prize. Why can't that be one of you? Steve Biko, who died at the age of 30, and he co-founded the Black People's Convention at the age of 26. Mandela himself helped form the ANC Youth Wing at age 26. Jomo Kenyatta started articulating the rights of his people at the age of 20. Patrice Lumumba died at the age of 36 and launched the Congolese national movement. Died at the age of 36 and launched the Congolese national movement and became the first prime minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why can't that be you? Thomas Sankara was president of Burkina Faso, age 34. Lee Kuan Yew, one of the greatest prime ministers, was prime minister at the age of 36. It is you. You can be it. Go for it. And if we, 47 million strong, the young people of this world, you can claim your space, not as trend followers, but as trend setters. And you must use this moment, as those who have been there before you in our history,
to organize yourselves, to renew our economy, and to build a prosperous nation. You must declare that the young people will not be organized by politicians, but by the needs that drive the youth agenda. They must see the opportunity and not the danger in the movement. They must become owners of capital by embracing the habit of saving. And indeed, to flatten the curve of unemployment, as was asked today, we must correct our Kenyan imperfections that drive investors away from our country, and our young people must take the lead. Recently, I was talking with members of the border sector, and I just gave them a few numbers. Border sector supports almost 5.2 million Kenyans on average, which is about approximately 10% of our population. Between them, their industry makes 357 billion shillings a year, which is more than we disperse to our 47 counties, which now currently stands at 316 billion.
Is the principle that you pay yourself first. Hata ukifanya kazi, panga kidogo uweke kando for tomorrow. And this is a principle that borrows from the fable of the richest man in Babylon, the man who, like all other laborers, but each time he received his wages, he set aside an amount for savings. Then he called it a payment to himself. And with time, this ritual of daily saving set him apart from all his friends until he became the richest man in Babylon. Indeed, with the border investment scheme, if you built it around this principle of paying yourself first, and if at the end of the day, each of the 1.4 million border operators pays themselves just 50 shillings in the form of daily savings, that total would amount to 70 million shillings a day. This would translate into 490 million shillings a week. This would total 1.96 billion shillings a month. You tell me which organization can raise that kind of money. That is 2 billion shillings a month. With 2 billion shillings, you can own your own petrol stations across the country, assembly plants, you can own banks, you can own manufacturing outlets. But this is only if you work together and you have that understanding of the principle of saving. Not living for today, but saving today for a better and brighter future. You know, many of the Kenyans who fought the liberation struggle were a generation in their 20s and 30s. Dedan Kimathi, Waruhu Itote, Muthoni Kirima, all these were young people. Those who also negotiated our independence at Lancaster were young people in their 30s. Many of them known to you, but you know them as old men. You don't know them as young when they were vibrant there, kwa sababu wengine hawakuwa wamezaliwa wakati hata hawakuamini. Wengine, anyway, let me not say that. Mboya was only 30. Nyayo, who passed on recently, was only 36 at the time. Bernard Mate was only 38. Masinde Muliro was 38. Kenneth Matiba was 34. Robert Ouko was 34. Josephat Karanja, who rose to become a vice president, was 34. Simeon Nyachai was 34 when he was a whole provincial commissioner. Titus Mbadi was 38 as a permanent secretary. Why can you not be there? Jameni, tusaidiane mufike hapo mwanze leo. Yeah? But the truth of the matter is, you must be present. You must be in the arena for this to happen, not outside the arena watching. Mimi nataka kusema tu nikimalizia. We have an opportunity to retell the narrative of our country and to retell it through your eyes. but only if you decide to enter the arena. If you decide that you are no longer going to be spectators but participants. If you decide that you want to take charge of your future. You have a great, 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 great future ahead of you, and ours is to support you. And I do hope through this particular program, Kenya ni Mimi, you will take ownership of your country and you will guide and lead it to future heights of prosperity, peace, and stability. Count on our support, and I wish you all God's blessings. Asante sana.
Naomba tusimame sote. Walio na kofia ambazo si rasmi tuweze kuzitoa. Tuwe wima kwa wimbo wa taifa. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Rais kwa kushinda nasi. Pongezi. Tumpongeze kwa makofi anapoondoka Mheshimiwa Rais. Tukumbuke kwamba Kenya ni mimi, ujana ni moshi, na ukienda haurudi.
Powerful words from the head of state, of course, to the youth, and he says the future is the youth and the future is now. Those were live pictures from the Bomas of Kenya, where Kenya ni Mimi Youth Summit has been officially launched by the president, flanked, of course, by other government officials, including the CS for ICT, which has organized this summit. Of course, a lot of encouragement from the president, talking about, of course, the best bet for a bright future. The youth should seize all opportunity, and of course, he has mentioned that the youth are always being used by politicians when it comes to elections, and we have to lose at least 2 productive years in a cycle of 5 years. So reminding the youths that everything is possible when, of course, they join forces and, of course, pursue their dreams. We have a lot on that, but I will be giving you all that after this short breather, when I'll be coming up with the lunchtime news.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mulitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale QuickBit. QuickBit? QuickBit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder. 399 shillings. QuickBit shilingi moja unaweza nunua free. Shilingi 2 unaweza nunua micro. Shilingi 5 unaweza nunua hata gari. So tupeleke huko hata mtu aende huko.
Jiunga na QuickBit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill, kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16, kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye